So this is our initiative that we have taken in partnership with Solid Waste India organization. Solid Waste India is led or initiated by a German company called EcoProg, who are a very strong consulting firm based out of Europe, and they are working in the solid waste management for a long time. Solid Waste India is also a very strong portal today, which works as a news aggregator, identifying the key developments across solid waste industry and brings together everything under one roof. So jointly with Solid Waste India and Thighstick, we have created this concept called No Time to Waste. No Time to Waste is a project, basically more than a program or an event, which we wanted to create. Uh, so the first step towards creation of this was to identify which are the areas under solid waste management that we need to focus. So the virtual series that we initiated it had three discussions. This is the third one. We had the West Zone, which included Goa, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. We completed the North Zone, where we had three states from the north participating, including Jammu and Kashmir, etc. And now we are into the South Zone, where we have few states also partnering with us. Beyond the technologies, we are also supported by a list of industry bodies who are very important in this segment. We would like to actually acknowledge their support as well. Times of India Group is our media partner for this. Apart from that, the knowledge partners who have been helping us to create this series include National Solid Waste Association of India, Material Recycling Association of India, SME Chamber, TTC Waste Management Association, Indian Textile Machinery Association, Indian Pollution Control Association, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and Indian Plastic Institute. So together we have created this third leg of our virtual series. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the idea is to identify the core focus area for solid waste management from the government side. From the technology side, if we want to understand which are the success stories which have been applied and successfully executed in this area. And taking this forward, we will be conducting a physical program as an outcome of these discussions, where our idea or opportunity we need to create is of connecting both of them to come out with a pilot project or develop more success stories. Now, that's the whole objective that we have created this for. And the more type or the format of this session remains the same like we had for the last two virtual sessions also. Everybody is requested to adhere to time of 5 minutes. This is not a complete sales documentation or pitch process right now. It is basically to understand from the government side, which is their pain point that they want the industry to help them, and from the industry side to tell them that which is the successful case study that we can replicate. So I assume that this should be supporting us to create the focus areas towards our physical program. Afreen is the editor of Solid Waste India. She is the moderator for this session, along with Aninda, who is also part of Solid Waste India. So I think with this, we are looking forward to a very engaging discussion and a very focused discussion, which will help us develop to the objectives that we want to come out with. Again, thank you everybody for spending this time with us. And after the program, we'll definitely be connecting with each of you with the key point that you will be able to share with us today. Over to you, Afreen. Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
Umesh. Thank you, Umesh, for that overview on this session. I am Afreen Kadwai, the editor-in-chief of Solid Waste India. I have been tracking the waste business for the last 3 years and very closely. And I'm sure we all agree that this is a very exciting time to be in the waste business. SBM 2.0 has created new opportunities that must be explored together in order to realize the Prime Minister's vision for a clean India. We have people from the public sector and the private sector and industry experts today to come up with concrete solutions to the myriad problems that are facing the waste management sector. So we want this to be a very focused discussion, and I would request once again that all speakers to stick to a time limit of 5 minutes. We'll be playing a buzzer. If Radhika, you can just give a snapshot of what that sounds like so that people stick to their time limit, because if the discussion becomes too long-winded, we lose the whole focus of this discussion. As we've heard before from Umesh, that we want very pointed discussions, case studies, examples, very specific conversations, so that it can lead up to a very productive physical event later on. So without wasting much time, I would like to move the session forward. Like you know, this is our third virtual webinar, roundtable rather. We've had two focusing on the West and the North. Now is the turn of people from the South to put their voice forward. I would like to invite Mr. Krishnamurthy. He's a senior environmental engineer at the Andhra Pradesh Pollution Control Board. Mr. Krishnamurthy, I would like to begin by asking you to summarize some of the key problems, some of the key areas of concern for your municipality, for your state rather, and how do you think that the attendees here can provide solutions to those? Mr. Krishnamurthy?
Yeah, good evening to everybody. In Andhra Pradesh, our government has shot out a 3-point program. One is segregation at source and segregation into wet waste and dry waste. All dry waste should go to waste to energy plants or cement plants for co-processing, and wet waste to compost. Dry waste to waste to energy, and wet waste to compost area. So like that, we have already established 2 waste to energy plants. One at Visakhapatnam with 28 ULBs connected to process 1400 tons per day of municipal solid waste, and to Guntur and Visakhapatnam with 13 ULBs to process 1000 tons per day. This one, and some more municipalities are being added to these 2 clusters, and the third cluster is going to be established at the Rajamandri. So 3 clusters for waste to energy plants, and the remaining cluster, that is in the Rayalaseema, we have 51 municipalities are there. Those municipalities are connected to 8 cement plants rather, to go for the co-processing. And yesterday also, Commissioner and Director of Municipal Administration took a video conference for connecting cement plants, municipalities, and to have a develop one mobile app, say, to proper monitoring the waste to reach the cement plants. And it will be shown to NGT also for how these what you call the tracking of waste from generation to destination is going there, and this one. And what is the process in cement plants for co-processing and all? It can be this one. So we have mapped like that. 51 municipalities have been mapped, and it is last month 28th, I think. It was started on very enthusiastically and doing. So the 51 municipalities situated in the Rayalaseema should transport entire waste to these cement plants, and they have to accept. They should not give excuses for anything is this a waste, where non-segregated, whatever. No excuses are being allowed from the cement plants. Every waste must reach cement plant for waste to what you call co-processing. So this is how this one. And in compost plants also, we have 54 projects for what do you call planned for 52 municipalities, and out of that one, some 37 plants are all in the existing stage, and 17 more are going to come up with the in future. There is the so with regard to the construction and demolition waste, we have 3 plants, one at Vijayawada, one at Visakhapatnam, one at Tirupati. So all put together 300 tons per day capacity is there. So they have all commissioned and running in the stage. Where Vizag, Vijayawada, Tirupati also running successfully. It's C&D waste. So this is the brief. This one, what is going on in AP?
Are you facing any challenges, sir, in terms of providing the segregated waste to the cement companies? What is the quality of waste that is going to them?
See, some cement plants are not accepting where when the waste is mixed with the wet waste. I think most of them waste are if wet waste is there, so it will be a problem for handling this one. Putresol matter will be there, so odor nuisance will be there. So we are experiencing only with regard to the segregation and also with the transportation of the municipal solid waste.
Mm-hmm. So segregation and transportation are some of the key issues that
that are the challenging in what do you call in implementation of co-processing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you, sir, for that very brief but very comprehensive, pertinent perspective on what Andhra is doing and is facing in terms of dealing with its wet and dry waste. Thank you, sir, for that. Now,
Madam, good afternoon, madam. This is Dr. Ramesh, Senior Environmental Engineer from Puducherry. I have one meeting with our Chief Secretary regarding the NGT affidavit to be submitted. So may I share my views now, if you permit me?
Absolutely, sir. Please, go ahead.
Yes. Actually, the UT of Puducherry, madam, we have 5 urban local bodies. Altogether, we are generating around 320 ton per day of municipal solid waste. Currently, the processing is not to commendable, portion. We have experimentally set up 1 ton of biomethanization plant at 2 municipalities. So actually, mainly that market waste, that is wet waste, it is segregated, the source itself, and it is sent to the biomethanization plant. It is a bark technology. So we are generating almost 30 meter cube of methane gas, which is currently used for lighting the street light within the dumping yard. So by through DG set, it is converted to the electricity and we are using it. Second thing is that we have tie up with hand in hand one NGO. They are in Coricall as experimental basis. They are having a 30 ton per day of composting plant and 1 ton of RDF. So this composting is being sold as a manure. It has a lot of attraction from the farming community. And that 1 ton RDF plant, it is sent to the cement plant in Tamil Nadu. As such, we do not have any cement plant in Pondicherry. This RDF is go there. Interesting thing is that in Puducherry urban area, there was accumulation of around 5.5 lakhs ton of legacy waste. So NGT has taken that accumulation of legacy waste in all the state of India, and they started to imposing environment compensation at the rate of 300 rupees per ton of accumulated legacy waste. So they are urging to first dispose, find some mechanism to dispose the legacy waste at the war footing level. So now we have entrusted the work with one Sigma Enterprises. They started biomining the legacy waste. Around 60% of the biomining has been completed. Around something 3 lakhs ton of legacy waste has been converted into briquettes as well as RDF. We couldn't do composting because all the organic waste would have been lost its manure characteristic because of all the long time.
Yeah.
Now the processing part, we are having the 2 issues, madam. One thing, the plastic. Actually, Central Pollution Control Board had carried out one study in the year 2012 throughout all major cities in India. They have listed out around 18 cities wherein the plastic constitute more than the 10% of the total municipal waste. So Pondicherry is one among the 13 cities. So when the plastic waste get mixed with this municipal solid waste, that wet waste, we are unable to do any composting process.
Correct.
So composting can be practiced only when you have the very stringent and very robust source segregation system. Otherwise, the composting will be difficult. I will cite one example. On Puducherry, we have one organization called PASIC. Through PASIC, we had converted this municipal waste into manure. So after 6 months, the farmers started to make complaint that your compost contains a lot of microplastic waste. While applying this compost to the field, it blocked the micropore in the land, sand system. So it doesn't, after this plastic get accumulated in the soil, subsoil, micropore, it doesn't allow water to go to the root zone. It doesn't allow the oxygen also get into the down the crop. So the agriculture activities got affected. So then the farmers did not take that compost. So unless you segregate the plastic 100% from this composting, the compost will be very failure aspect. That now we understand that things, then we are making into strict source segregation. And another thing about that cement kiln, when you send the plastic waste, actually the plastic waste, there are two types of plastic waste. One is generated from market waste, which contain a lot of soil particle, and you cannot send directly to the cement plant. So such type of the plastic waste need to be addressed top priority. When industry generate plastic waste, if it is virgin in nature, this plastic waste can be directly used for the road making rather than sent to the cement plant. Because now the Indian Road Congress made mandatory of 10% of plastic to be used in the concrete vitamins.
Yes.
So on an experimental basis, we made 200 meters of road using 200 kg of plastic. Approximately 1 kilometer of road required 1 ton of waste plastic. We made that by using the waste plastic road 3 months back. It was very good. The durability is more, cost also has come down. So my suggestion would be, rather than sending the virgin plastic into the cement plant simply where it is being burnt, it can be used for the road making.
Yes.
It can be sent the cement plant only the municipal plastic waste which contain soiled and it is not in good quality. That can be sent to the cement plant.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we are having a 25 recycled plastic unit.
Okay.
So these all the waste plastic generated from Pondicherry around 25 ton per day. So this plastic waste is channeled to the reprocessed plastic waste through organized and unorganized sector, and it is completely converted into the pellet and granules, and it is used for making the tarpaulin and value-added other product like paver block and all.
Okay. Mr. Ramesh, thank you so much for that overview. The timer has buzzed and I need to interrupt you here, but that was fantastic. And it's amazing how you are using the plastic like you described. Wishing you the very best. And I know that the industry partners here are providing technologies to help with better segregation, waste separators and things like that. So do stay tuned for their perspective as well in some time. Thank you, sir. I would now like to move on to Dr. KSLG Sastry. He's the Chief Medical Officer of Health for the Greater Visakhapatnam Municipal Corporation. Mr. Shastri, your city has been doing so much. Your corporation is doing so much in terms of waste management. Could you just tell us, amid all the good news, what would you like to highlight over here in terms of work that still needs to be done? What more can you be addressing at your level, and how can our attendees here help provide solutions to that?
Good afternoon. I hope am I audible?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to tell you that GVMC stood 4th ranking in the cleanest cities Swachh Sarvekshan competition in India 2022.
Yes.
So now our strategies are very clear. the top priority was given for the solid waste management. Even the discussions in the council or in the discussions among the officers, the first priority is the solid waste management. And then we are very clear regarding the door-to-door collection. And our Andhra government has started a program called Clean CLAP program, Clean Andhra Pradesh, CL for Clean, AP for Andhra Pradesh. So under this program, we have in this Visakhapatnam city, we have procured 629 ambulances, 629 door-to-door collection vans. So for every 1,000 households, we have one segregated van, one door-to-door van, collection van.
Yes.
And we instructed our PH workers to separate the waste at the door-to-door level. So this van comprises of, you must have seen, wet waste chamber as well as the dry waste chamber. So it was very easy for them to deliver at the point. The second thing is we have strengthened the door-to-door collection and also shifting, and then also strengthen the mechanical sweeping also. We recently procured 6 mechanical big machines. So mechanical sweeping machines, so which we are able to start. At the same time, for shifting of the for all these solid waste management and collection and transportation, and we are also procured 2 JCBs, actually from the Safai Karma. We under NSFC program, we procured, then we gave interest, we gave support to the Safai.
I think there's a connection problem here with Mr. Shastri. Yeah.
Well, we can't hear.
Yeah.
Mr. Shastri?
So do you want to try again while I move on to our next speaker?
So then
Mr. Shastri, can you switch off your video? Maybe the audio will be better if you do that. We can't hear you.
No, he's on mute, ma'am. I think he has to unmute and speak.
Mr. Shastri, you're on mute. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
Giving us an output of 15 megawatt power.
Yeah.
Similarly, we have also established biogas plants. And with all these things, and with all the teamwork involving not only the solid waste groups, not only the sanitation staff, sanitation officers, but also we are including then the public, especially the residential welfare associations, and also we're also involving the community leaders, community organizers, and also all the things, awareness programs simultaneously growing in schools, colleges, and at the same time residential welfare associations. So that's these how and last time I tell
what
you,
are the challenges you are facing in this? Because segregation is one key. Are you all satisfied with the levels of segregation at source?
Yeah.
Or there's a lot more to be done?
Yeah. So there is a problem with segregation also, but we are coming across, we have come across some problems, especially because the people, they don't maintain 3 bins. They try to make up and give it. But that we are coming across by organizing meetings with residential welfare associations and also apartment association meetings, and also all these kind of things. So I hope we will come across the difficult part of the segregation.
Okay, great. That is a very good but very short perspective on what your city is doing. I would have loved to hear more, but due to the lack of time, sir, I will have to move on. But I urge you to stay on because we have, technology providers who might be useful to your corporation in terms of the services they provide. I would now like to move on from the public sector to people from the industry. Because one problem that comes up is public awareness building and explaining to people the importance of segregation. One organization that is doing fantastic work on that front is the Indian Pollution Control Association. Mr. Ashish Jain, the director of IPCA, is here with us. I know that you are doing a lot at IPCA to raise public awareness about segregation, and your organization is growing from strength to strength, particularly in the north. Mr. Jain, could you now shed light on some of the issues that you have been tackling, some of the case studies, some kind of work that you would like to showcase for our public officials here?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, and thank you very much for this opportunity. The key challenge in solid waste management is segregation and littering. So means this has been spoken at every platform, and everybody is aware about this issue. If people start segregating waste at least into three categories, and our laws also make this mandate that people need to segregate their waste into three categories at source: biodegradable, recyclable, and domestic hazardous, then we would be able to solve the maximum problem related to waste management. We can reduce the size, we can reduce the volume of waste being handled by the municipality, and we can increase the rate of recycling, and we can reduce the health risk of the waste workers who involved in this supply chain and get their livelihood by taking out the valuable or recyclable waste. So we are trying to handle this key issue of solid waste management, and we are working with the community at the grassroots level, and we are educating them on the source segregation thing. And what we have observed while working with the community, that people means many times people are aware about what to segregate and what are the category of different ways need to segregate at source, but they do not have any disposal solutions. So we keep on hearing from the stakeholder that we do segregation, but ultimately waste workers come with the single compartment trolley or rickshaw, and he put all segregated waste into one carry bag. So we identified this problem, and with this identified problem, we try to provide services to the community for the collection of segregated waste. So we are running two campaign in Delhi NCR: My 10 kg plastic campaign and Bottle for Change campaign, where we are providing logistic services to the doorsteps. We send our vehicle for the collection of segregated plastic, and people are very happy to participate. In last 4 years, more than 50,000 families are part of this campaign. They are segregating their plastic at source. They are asking their neighbors, friends to segregate, and every day we keep on adding 10-15 families to this campaign. So this was the ultimate results. If you provide the solutions to the stakeholders, you just not take educational sessions or awareness sessions, because there are a lot of talk on this subject for last many years. Now there is a time of action. So
Yes.
people want to participate in environmental conservation activity. People want to contribute toward the environment protection, but they need, because at the individual level, no one is having expertise of recycling. No one has time to take segregated plastic waste to some designated point. So community needs services, and the municipality or agencies who are working in these sectors need to provide efficient services to the community, so that they can also bring some behavioral change. So behavioral change is for me, behavioral change is the key issue related to waste management. People do littering because they don't find bins at the right place. So people are not in a habit to carry their waste items to their office, to their homes, and I'm also working on this time, and I'm very hope that this time will come when people carry their waste in their car, in their pocket, and deposit their waste into the dustbin. So if we dispose all kind of waste in a dustbin, then it's very easy to collect, segregate, and transport to the designated site. So we are having issue related to waste because there are a lot of littering happening in the cities or in our surrounding, because we do not have right kind of civic sense in ourselves, and we do not have right kind of infrastructures. And we also think that मेरे अकेले करने से क्या होगा ये, so this kind of syndrome we have to delete from our society. हर एक के करने से बहुत कुछ होता है, and this is a environment belongs to me, and so we have to take ownership to the environment. And once we take the ownership of environment, I will not let anybody else to pollute my environment. So it's very simple, like we take care of our home, we take care of office, we take care of our own belongings. So similarly, we will take we take care of our environment or my environment. So these are some examples, and because waste is being generated by every living organisms, so every living organism participation is very must. No single entity, whether it is municipality, private company, NGO, has capacity to handle the entire waste being generated by a common man.
Correct.
So it is a collaborative approach, and we need to behave responsibly.
Absolutely.
So this is my take on it.
And like you mentioned, the infrastructure should be there. Right bins at the right places, I think, is the key. And I know that GVMC has underground bins also placed in many places. So there's a lot of innovation and technology that is coming up on that front, also tracking whether bins are full, half empty, need to be collected, cleared, etc. So
yeah, in this, I would like to add one more time. So infrastructure means right kind of infrastructure.
Correct.
So many times we create infrastructure without taking consideration the volume, the characteristics of waste. So whenever we are implementing or creating any kind of infrastructure, it is means I'm considering infrastructure to the household bills. So we can do a lot of innovation at the household levels. Suppose I can give you one example, and I'm talking on this innovation to many platforms. Like moisture is the biggest problem in our waste. So we are having 80% moisture. And because of this moisture, our volume of waste is very high. So if we can design a bin which can reduce the moisture at the source level, then we can reduce the volume of waste at up to 80%. And then we can means control the issue of odor. We can control the issue of contamination at the source level only. And very small innovation is required. Suppose you have a bin, you have a plastic container, and if you can place one sieve at the bottom and leave some space for the collection of moisture at the bottom of bins, you can solve the problem of moisture. So the lot of R&D is required in right direction. We don't need to replicate things from European countries or developed countries to our country. Our problem is different. Our solution would be different. So we need to understand the problem at the grassroots level, and from the observation at grassroots level, we need to develop a lot of things, starting from the bin to the transportation system, to the MRF facility, to the recycling facility. Each component of the entire waste supply management need to be evolved scientifically, logically, and in an eco-friendly way.
Correct. Yes. Great. Thank you for that, Mr. Jain. That perspective is very valuable. Yes, we have solutions within our own country. We just need to look for them and implement them. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Sanjeev Kumar. He's from the Material Recycling Association of India. Mr. Kumar, you have been hearing our speakers describe some of the biggest challenges that they face, and recycling of plastics is emerging as one of the biggest issues. What are your thoughts on this?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are, sir.
Very good evening, very good afternoon to all the panelists here. It's a very good topic to start with, that no time to waste. In fact, every word has got a meaning, and the meanings are very relevant in the present scenario. So coming back to the point and the topic, it's as far as technology, as far as know-how, and as far as regulation, and as far as willingness to do, everything is existing here.
Yeah.
So if that is existing, then per day we are generating more than 1.6 lakh metric ton of waste. 1.6 lakh metric ton of waste. And if you convert into the kind of growth of population India is having, the growth of waste per day is almost equivalent to the growth of population. And now the growth of waste is increasing vis-a-vis to the growth of population. Kind of, when everything is there, then why we are continuously in a year almost more than lakhs of such kinds of forums or such kinds of discussions and such kinds of things are happening. But probably to the extent what we all want to, with the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister of India, there is still some challenge which needs a right approach to find out what can be the way forward. I'll just tell you the challenges which is being felt, why this is not being taken off to the extent in spite of all our focus and efforts. We have 8 rules which talks of solid waste in India. These rules are varying from municipal solid waste to hazardous to electronic to plastics to battery to C&D, and 2 more other rules are there. And if as an individual, to each one of us as a house, we all have all the waste in our house. It is not only segregation by the municipalities or the people working into 2 types of bins or into 3 types of bin. The individual at home gets confused as to what are I can segregate. Should I segregate the only wet waste which is coming out of kitchen waste, or should I segregate the plastic into it, or should I segregate the wrapper, or should I segregate the toy? If it's a toy is a hard plastic, it is also having a hazardous waste. Should I segregate the sanitary napkin, sanitary pad, or should I segregate the aerosol can, or should I segregate the empty refill of the all-out can or the deodorant? So what level of segregation is required? And once that gets segregated, I think our co-speakers have already spoken the challenges that where it will get transported, where it will get collected, and where it will go to a MRAI facility, or should it go to the compost facility, or to the wet treatment, or to the RDF. So the rules itself are so made that segregation everywhere is being talked, and the poor man or the poor public is unable to do what to do. And the driver and the operator of the transporter, and again the processing and disposal part. So this needs a point to be discussed as to how do we want segregation. Why are we keep on saying that segregation is a challenge? I think it's not a challenge. Why it should be done? If we keep on segregating, then what segregation has to be done? That poor man does not understand. So to me also it is having a problem. I really don't know how do I explain to my child कि boss ये toy टूट गया है, इसमें hazardous material है, इस hazardous material को domestic hazardous waste में डालना है, और इस प्लास्टिक को, ये पतला वाला प्लास्टिक है, इसको प्लास्टिक में सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक में जाना है या MLP में जाना है या SDP में जाना है. So this point needs to be discussed, and I leave this point discussion or thought process. How do we address this issue? Second issue, when we talk of the projects to be given by the corporation so far has been authorized to provide world-class sanitation to the public, and the corporation has to is supposed to do under the laws that this kind of sanitation is to be provided. But when it comes to running of the plant, and when it comes to selection of the technology or the type of vehicle to be customized for collection and transportation, to be customized for the material recovery facility for that particular ULB, to be customized for the processing of biomethanation, to be customized for a RDF to be sent to the cement plant, or to the waste to energy, that capability or the capacity so far has not come to the extent. So what should be done? It should be that the project structuring should include the all kinds of available resources there, available infrastructure there, and what particular infrastructure is to be provided. Some kind of a guideline has made, and with that guideline, the procurement list of the ULB is made. some vehicles are purchased and that is being handed over. Unfortunately, fortunately, some success stories are there and most of them are not successful. So the corporation's limitation and though project structuring needs the second attention which needs to be solved out. Third is, when we talk of all this infrastructure to be brought out, this infrastructure needs to be operated and maintained. We always keep on talking that waste is wealth. That does not mean the wealth means cash. There is a serious problem of how those projects can become sustainable. And for that, with the kind of effort or the kind of funding coming out or the kind of money being spent under each finance, whether it is central government fund or the state government or the funds coming out from the municipalities, from their local collections, that money needs to be properly structured to put into a escrow fund where that escrow fund needs to run the O&M. These are three of my key challenges with some kind of a thought processes or some kinds of key takeaways which needs to be addressed further. Thank you. Excuse me for being 2 minutes late.
That's all right, sir. You were very concise in your 3 points that you raised, fundamental to which was, how to explain segregation to one and all. That is a challenge that every municipality is facing, and we really need good IEC and behavioral change programs for that. Also, there are some companies here who've been doing some good work on the ground, so we'll hear from them on what solutions they have for this problem. Also, the infrastructure, the corporations level, how do we tackle those gaps and implement solutions properly? So moving on now, we have Mr. Umesh Kumar. He's the chairman of the IPI student chapter, Pan India. Mr. Kumar, your thoughts on what the discussion here today has focused on plastics, once again emerging as a big problem, but also, how do you segregate waste properly? How do you get it transported for proper processing, make sure it reaches processing and cement plants in the way they want it to? So lots of challenges there. Your thoughts, sir? Could you please unmute yourself?
So good afternoon all. I am Umesh Kumar from Indian Plastic Institute. In short, it is IPA. Now we are into basically a technical people. We don't have, though it is an institute, we don't have any full-time course and all. We are more into technology provider and all. Our head office is in Mumbai, and we have got some 20 chapters or branches pan India, Northeast, Southwest, and of course Central India also. And we are connected to around 20 engineering technical colleges in this all over India. Our basic idea is to provide technology aspects to related to plastics or recycling of plastics. First thing what we do is we give knowledge to the students. I mean, wherever these plastic technology courses are there, we provide some knowledge on recycling plastics. That is one of the key subject on that day. And we do understand, we also provide some seminars and conference and all where this plastic recycling is happening. Now from the morning, I'm listening from the past 1 hour, there are around 8 speakers. More than 5 speakers are talking about plastics and the minus point of plastics. I do understand that, okay, minus point is there, but when you take into that garbage or waste management, whatever you call it as, plastics are more means, why plastics are more? Plastic is a lovely material. I mean, it's a versatile material. Everywhere it is being used. Okay. That is why it is more percentage in the your waste management. So what we have to do is, if you take any solid items, for example, plastic items in solid, for example, broken chair. Have you seen any broken chair or any big containers and all in this your waste bin? No, because it is reusable. I mean, everything is reusable. But rag pickers, what they do is this one-time use plastics. They are not picking it. Picking it, matlab, there is no. I mean, what you can say, there is no profit for them. So if it is a solid one, they get profit. They sell it to the nearby shops and they get money of it. Now we because someone spoke to, I mean, some gentleman spoke some time back saying that I can say, yes, we can also be a culprit for that. I mean, for generating a lot of plastics pollution. I mean, it's a versatile metal, but we have to manage things properly. So what I'm saying is, whatever technical aspects and all you want, we can provide for you. And there is a national and international exhibitions happening. Now, for example, in 2023, this coming February, there is international plastics polymers exhibition happening, and we have a separate one theme, that is a recycling of plastics or solid waste management. Plastics is wherever how many % of plastic is there, how to recycle it, how to come about, how to come out of this problem. We are a solution provider. Kindly do contact us, whatever either is a municipality or a government bodies or private or pollution control or material management, so whomsoever it is, kindly do contact us. Whatever help we can, you need from us, we can provide technological wise, technical aspect, everything we do, because this Indian Plastic Institute is consist of a lot many industry people. So it's only it's a organizer based on the industry people. We are the people, we know what to do with plastic, we know all kind of plastics. Whatever plastics is there in the wastage or municipality, we know what type of metal it is. There are around 5 to 10 types of metal. We know how to segregate it. Kindly to contact us, and we'll see that this it's most of the times it is only one time use plastics are it is the called as a culprit of this whole environment scenario. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kumar, for that. Plastics is not the problem. The management of the plastic waste is.
Yes.
And that is what I think is solutions that are required. And let's move on now to, we have technology representatives. We have representatives from the private sector who are doing some fantastic work. And I think they can just share with our public sector officials on what they are doing in other places and how their solutions can help these municipalities down south. So I'd like to begin by asking Mr. Amar Chaudhary. He's the business head of Nihot Recycling Technologies. They're suppliers of waste separation technology, systems and components using controlled air. Mr. Chaudhary, you've heard our public sector officials, our municipality officials describe some of the biggest problems that they are facing, and plastic is coming up, and waste segregation really is one of the biggest challenges every municipality faces. So can you tell us what your company can do for them? And I don't want to make a business pitch, it's not a presentation here, but what are you doing in other municipalities that can be of relevance to them?
Yeah, perfect.
5
Thank you,
minutes,
first
sir.
of all, Afrin,
Yeah.
and thank you, Aninda, for giving me the opportunity. I really appreciate. I can share my knowledge. So basically, I'm representing a company called Nihot. Nihot is a Dutch company which is based in Amsterdam. We are 75 years old, and trust me, what we do is it's all about solid waste management. So we are a machine manufacturer which produce a machinery which can screen and segregate a solid waste. Let me repeat again, solid waste. We are not into wet waste. So if you have a product and you wanted to segregate it, and if I can start with the problem statement of Mr. Krishna sir from Andhra Pradesh, he was pointing out how to maintain the co-processing of waste. Sir, again, the co-processing of waste can only be done if you have a correct machine at a correct time. Everybody knows you need a screen. Everybody knows you need a segregator. Everybody knows that stuff. But it's all about using a correct technology at the correct time. So there are screens, for example, there are trommels, but they are not meant to handle MSW. So what we are doing currently in India is we are anyhow forcing ourselves, or let's say we are blindfolding ourselves, saying trommel is the solution, or let's say this particular machine or this particular screen or a segregator is the solution. But that's not the reality. And this is what we have learned from last 10-15 years. Every landfill operator, every MRF operator, every cement industry, what they have done is they thought India waste is different. I'm 100% sure our waste is different, but it doesn't mean. And what we are also trying to do is we are trying to find 100% solution. Trust me, there is nothing called 100%. Even in Europe, where I'm sitting, there is nothing called 100%. So the moment we stop looking for a 100% solution, rather than start thinking of let's start with 90% or 80% solution, and then we enhance ourselves. To give you an example, we have 2 installations in Goa Municipal Corporation, which is running since 11 months. And this company started 8 years ago with a conveyor, and they evolved themselves by thinking, okay, let's start somewhere and then we'll upgrade. So what we are doing there is we are segregating different waste. So they have in-feed of a MSW, which is 500 metric tons per day plant. And after going into apparent feeder, they put it into our screen, and our screen whole sole purpose is to remove organics. That's the only purpose. And why our screen? Because we have, I won't try to pitch my product, but we have a different kind of a screen, which is only meant to remove organics from the incoming waste. Now you can use any screen. But what we are doing in India is we are putting a trommel, which we think is the best, economical, made in India. That's the solution to go for. But that's not the solution to go for. You have to find a correct screen for a correct application. Trommel is well and good for C&D. It will run very well. But if I put the same machine into MSW, it will choke. The sieve size will choke because it contains so much of moisture that the organic part will stuck into the sieves and it will block out. So it is again up to you. You want to have a breakdown after every 2 years, clean it, totally fine. That's up to the municipality or up to the people. After removing the organics, there might be stones which might be greater than the sieve, let's say 80 mm, 90 mm, 100 mm. Now, if you send this material directly to the cement industry, they will say no, because they have a shredder which they want to shred, but because of the stones which are greater than the sieve size, it will cut out the knife. So they don't want to have stones in it. And this is where Nihoth comes into the picture with their second product. We call it wind shifter or air density separator. And this is our bread and butter since 75 years. And what we do is we create two fractions, light and heavy. Light is pure RDF. When I say pure, it's 99% pure. There is nothing called 100%. And heavies are all the inerts, all the contamination which you want to remove so that you can sell this RDF. For now, we are not able to sell it because we don't have a clean RDF. In Europe, there are specifications of RDF quality. We have not reached to that limit of having a specified quality of RDF. But now cement industry is saying, give me an RDF. We can give them a clean RDF to start with, and then we can ask for a price. In Goa, in MRF plants, we are giving them 3 fractions. Heavies are the coconuts or stones or glasses which they don't want. Mid fractions are the 3D, are the plastic bottles, are the films, are the Tetra packs, are the reusables. And the last fraction, light fraction, is the pure RDF. This is where they can sell it to the company. Again, this machine is running for 11 months in Indian MSW. Let me repeat, in an Indian MSW, because we Indian think if it's not running in our turf, it's not a machine to go for. And this is the reason why I am trying to promote everybody. If you have a chance to come to Goa, I am more than happy to take you there. And believe me, there is no third machine. That's the end. An MRF running with 3 machines with 600 metric ton per day. That's it. And again, not 100%. There is nothing called 100%. So if I answer the question of Andhra Pradesh, sir, please come to Goa. Again,
Mr. Chaudhary, I will have to ask you to wrap up now. I'm sorry. It's
last to answer to the question of Mr. Ramesh, to remove the organics, again, to remove the plastic from the organics, you need a wind shifter. That's it. That's the solution. Simple.
Okay.
Thank you again.
I'm sure there will be more opportunities to explain more technologies better to the public sector officials. We do need to move on in the interest of time. I would now like to invite Mr. Dr. Ashok Kumar, switching gears here now to electronic waste. E-waste management is becoming a big issue for municipalities, and Mr. Kumar will give us some perspective on what Greenscape eco-management is doing in other cities. Mr. Kumar, you've heard the discussion. What are some of the solutions that you have for e-waste management?
first of all, I will ask Mr. Amar Chaudhary that what is the cost of the plant and machinery, which is very important because when you do some solid waste management and you recover the RDF, you have to have efficiently because you understand at what price the resource is being sold. So therefore, if the cost benefit analysis is there, then it will definitely be good for a solution for solid waste management. So this is what I would ask him. Now I'll come to the electronic waste. I'll just say a few things about the e-waste. Afrin, you understand why we are doing recycling. Whether it is solid waste, whether it is plastic waste, whether it is e-waste, whether it is tire waste. You know, all this recycling started in 2006-07. And basically in Government of India, the main impetus was given in 2011. And then afterwards, the waste management was being taken care by private sector, public sector, municipalities and all that. The government has been very, very active now that whatever the waste is there, it's a basically, first of all, it's a resource. Whether it's a solid waste, I have gone and seen the plants in a very small countries like Trinidad, Tobago on the solid waste. So I'll just give a very good example. There, the solid waste recovery is different from India. So they have very good systems and they recover each and every metal out of the solid waste even. And then they don't fill the land by sending the material to the landfill, what has been happening in India. So they recover each and everything. So as far as e-waste is concerned, I would like to give some perspective that the e-waste was started in 2011. 16 was the base year when the amendment was carried out, that how the electronic waste is to be recycled in India. And now recently, 2 days back, on the 2nd of November, the new e-waste rules have been framed by the Government of India, where they have taken out all the people who are not relevant in the business, like PROs and other dismantlers. So it is the responsibility of the producer under the EPR regime. So what I mean to say is that the waste recovery and the waste recycling is very, very essential for this country at this point of time. We are staying in Delhi. The people can understand how much pollution we are watching, whether it is south, east, north, or any part of the India. These are collectively disturbing the health of the people. So how to do it? You can understand that in the last 150 years, 2,500 metric ton of carbon has been emitted. India is only emitting very few tons. Every year it is 38 metric ton of carbon is being emitted in India, in the world. So therefore, we have to go for recycling and we have to find the best efficient ways of recycling. So as a Greenscape, we have come out a very good solution for recovery of 69 metals out of the electronic waste. We are the largest e-waste recycling based in north of India, in Rajasthan. One plant is in Pune, one plant is in Bangalore. So what we are doing is that the cost of logistic and collection is most important. Everybody is talking about collection segregation, but there is a disposal also in a very sound management way of environment. So that suppose if you collect, you segregate, but if you don't dispose or if you don't recycle in a proper way, where in India, the informal sector is very, very active at this point of time. They are doing the recycling, but that recycling is basically a backyard recycling, which is disturbing again the pollution. So our aim is that we should put the plant and machinery where the e-waste or the plastic waste or the tire has to be recovered in such a fashion that it does not disturb after the recycling is carried out to the environment. So we have come out a very good solution as far as the e-waste is concerned. We have brought one of the finest machines which can take care of the foam when you have hazardous material inside your consumer durable. Say for instance, fridge contains a foam which is hazardous in the form if it is not treated properly. So the people don't do it. They just dismantle it, take out the metals and sell the things and put the foam into the landfill. So what we have done is, as an innovative way, that the foam is converted into energy. How? We are sending it to co-processing in cement industry, where they are recovering 6,700 calorific value per ton of the foam. So we are also doing a solution to the various industry, that it is a, and we are followed in our company, industry 5.0, that whatever has been coming to our recycling unit, nothing goes into the landfill. Everything is utilized, whether it is the precious metals, say for instance, we have copper, aluminum, gold, silver, platinum, and also the rare earths. So we are giving a service to our country where we don't have PCB available. Yes. So these are the solutions we have come in our company, and we wanted to give all our knowledge to the municipalities as well as to the private entrepreneurs. We want that the private entrepreneurs has to come together, because it's very difficult to do a 3 million tons of e-waste every year generated.
Yes.
The tire is there. All these things can be taken care. So my closing remark is that we all have to work together, whether it is solid waste. When the solid waste is coming to municipalities or to the private entrepreneurs, there are certain waste which is connected with the electronics and other metals that should be segregated at this point of time, and it should not be given to the informal sector. Correct. It is going to the informal sector. There's no doubt about it. And you must have seen on the landfills, when there is a fire, it's because of the metals. The informal sector puts the fire on the landfills and recover the copper and aluminum, which is all again harming us. So my point is that the technology changes are happening. We are bringing the best technologies. The government of India, the MOEF, and the Ministry of Electronics is giving huge incentives, 25% of the cost of the plant and machinery. You can have incentive if you put these plants which can recover precious metals and rare earths. So this is the time where we have to be collectively doing the things. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to tell you about few things which we know.
Thank you so much.
And anybody who wants any details on the electronic waste, we will be very happy to share.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for that. At the policy level, I think India has a very, very good policy framework for plastic waste, e-waste. It's just the implementation. It's just the, the ground level realities that need to be worked upon. So now let's move on in our discussion to Mr. Sanjay Sharma. He's, which is a full, I'm sorry, I think I got that wrong. Mr. Jitesh Gupta from Axens India. It's a clean energy company. Mr. Gupta, if you could just give a perspective on what your company is doing, some of the, case studies that that can showcase what you are already doing with municipalities in the country and how you can support municipalities down south in their efforts.
Very good afternoon, Afreen and the panel members. Myself, Jitesh Gupta, I am working with Axens. Just to give a brief introduction of Axens. Axens is a French company. Our head office is based out in Paris, France. We are a parent company of IFPN, which is a French Petroleum Institute. They are involved into the innovation and research and environment activities, and Axens is an arm which is licensing the innovation and the technologies which are being developed by IFPN. So as I understand in this discussion, the plastic waste we have been discussing a lot, and at Axens we are offering a technology which can truly provide circularity in the field of plastic. So if I know the panel members are aware that the plastic is being manufactured from the monomers, and the technologies that we have can actually convert that plastic back into monomer. So ultimately, we are saving the plastic from going back into the landfill, and we can also reduce the need for manufacturing of fresh plastic, since it's a true circularity that we are bringing in. For that, Axens in partnership with Plastic Energy, we have a technology which can convert this plastic. We call it as a mixed plastic. When I say mixed plastic, you need not to differentiate the plastic based on its color, type, or even need not to wash it. So you just process the mixed plastic in our plant, and by the process of pyrolysis, we can convert this mixed plastic into pyrolysis oil. This pyrolysis oil is real cash. This pyrolysis oil currently is manufactured. We have 2 plants in Sweden. We have more than 13 years of experience. This pyrolysis oil is being sold to the big names: Total, ExxonMobil, Sabic. What they are doing, they are manufacturing plastic out of this pyrolysis oil, and this plastic is termed as green plastic because this is being recycled. This plastic is manufactured from the recycled oil, and they get premium on the product price from this plastic. In addition to that, the tack oil which is produced in this pyrolysis process, we also have a technology which can further purify this tack oil, wherein we can remove all the metals, chloride, even we can saturate the olefins and diolefins which are present in this plastic. And once this plastic is being cleaned, we can also even crack it. This tack oil is being cleaned. We can even crack it to form naphtha. Naphtha is a gasoline material, which is a very usual feed stream to all the petrochemical complex in India. So this naphtha can go to the petrochemical complex and further get converted into monomer, which can form plastic like ethylene, propylene. So with these two technologies, what we are able to offer is a total circularity in the plastic. So coming out with what we are doing in other parts of the world, as I already said, we already have 2 plants operating in Sweden with 13 years of experience. Worldwide, we have recently we have signed to supply our technologies to pyrolysis. They will have a plant in Sweden. It will be a 50 KTA plant, wherein they will be converting plastic into the tack oil. Then this tack oil will be further cleaned to produce naphtha. And in addition to that, in Australia, Australia is again coming up. Sorry, the pyrolysis plant, we are just supplying our cleaning process, wherein they already have the tack oil. We will be cleaning this tack oil to make naphtha. In the Australia, they are coming up with first recycling unit, wherein we are offering tack oil along with the cleaning, which we call it as rewind mix technology. So this is going to be a first plastic to plastic recycling project in Australia that which our company is doing. And we are sure that this similar technology can be used in India. We are open to discuss and offer our technologies to anyone who would like to partner with us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. I think technology, we're a good time right now with so much innovation going on in the sector. And we just need to find and identify those technologies, which is what we're trying to do through sessions like this. Thank you, sir, for that. Now let's move on to Mr. Sanjay Sharma. He's from Lamore India Private Limited. Mr. Sharma, thank you for joining us. And could you just tell us about some of the work that Lamore is already doing in India and some successful case studies that perhaps might be of relevance to the company, the public sector officials here who are looking for some ideas on how to deal with their challenges?
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, Afreen. I hope I'm audible to the audience. Okay. First of all, Lamore is basically a Finland-based company, and we basically provide the cradle-to-grave solution with regard to the waste management, starting from the impact analysis studies to the waste management studies, and till about consulting and training part of it. With regard to India, we came in India in about 2019. We are primarily into the industrial sector, primarily in the oil and gas. But in large part of Africa and part of South America, we also handle the municipal wastes. And in India, from 2022, we have commissioned a waste management study, which is basically, it is for 2-year study, and we are going to study that how the waste is handled in India, so that we could offer the right solution at the end of 2023. But I just like to share some part of those studies, which may be a little different than the people audience have a view here. For example, I could see that your assessment is one of the biggest challenges to waste segregation and transportation. But our study shows that the biggest challenge in India is not the waste segregation, but the waste generation itself. The kind of population that we have got and the kind of consumer behavior that we have got, irrespective of how much money you pour in and irrespective of what kind of technologies you bring in, if you do not control the waste generation, no amount of technology and no amount of money is going to help in sorting out the issues of waste management. Second, before we were trying to get into the municipal waste, we had an interaction with close to about 23 municipalities from south, north, east, and west. And our observation was the relevant data, which is required for waste management planning, is not available with any of the municipalities. So I will just like to share a small case study, which we are doing in a city of Peru, which is in South America, which is having almost similar kind of a, I would say, demographical thing as in India. The study that we have commissioned in India is basically going to study the consumer behavior, the budget constraint, the organizational efficiencies. Like, for example, I'll give you an example in the city of Zurich, which is about a 90 square kilometer area. They have 11,300 bins, and those bins are cleared every 3 hours from morning 4:30 to night 11:30. So this is the, if you have this kind of organizational efficiency, perhaps you don't need a different kind of waste management. But India has a different issues in this. Then we have societal priorities. Society put a priority. For example, if you are generating a CND waste at your house, you may not like to hire a transport which will take it 10, 20 kilometers away or 30 kilometers away for disposal. So in our opinion, the first and foremost thing is that we should provide a solution, or we should look for a technology which caters to these constraints, because these cannot be changed. The another issue which is important in our view, which should be done, which we have suggested to the government also, to bring in a policy intervention. For example, now because of the consumer behavior, you have a pouch, which is 1 rupee pouch. A person who cannot buy oil, he buy the oil in a 1 rupee or 2 rupee pouch. And that pouch create a huge amount of waste, which is difficult to handle. Now the onus should be on the company. If the company takes back that pouch, empty pouch, for a 10 paisa or 15 paisa, maybe that will create some kind of incentive for the consumer to give it back and give it in a central place. It is not for the purpose of recycling per se, but it is for the purpose of segregation. Another important issue which we want to bring in this point is our consumer behavior is such, it is extremely difficult to segregate the dry and the wet waste, the kind of cooking that we have got. If you expect the consumer to do this, it is not likely to happen. So we have to work in these realities, and that is why we would like to spend at least 2 years in studying and understanding the consumer behavior, because that is not the area where Lemore can influence the consumer behavior. We need to bring in a solution which suits this consumer behavior. That today the failure in Indian scenario is that we are bringing in technologies, or we are bringing in a solution without addressing the basics of these issues. Until if we address these basic issues, I don't think any kind of technology or any kind of money. When we talk about money part of it, we have now established a 40,000 ton plastic handling plant in Porvo, which is our headquarter also, as a part of Porvo municipality. Now, it has costed about 12 million of euros. Now, in India, we know the kind of priorities that we have got, it will be difficult to get those kind of monies. So why don't we act on something very basic? For example, you charge the industry that anybody who's creating a plastic, now in India, everybody is free to create any kind of packing. But if you come to Finland, you cannot create a packing until it's approved by the government. If we tell, like in India, if we tell that oil manufacturer who's selling a 1 rupee pouch that he should make a green packing, that pouch will cost 10 rupees. Who do you think will buy? We have a biscuit packet which is 5 rupees and 4 rupees. What happened to that biscuit packet? Where does it go? But the question is, until we incentivize the consumer, you cannot employ 1,000 people to segregate a particular kind of. We were doing a study in the Balsava plant under the aegis of the Delhi government to study that why the waste is generated. So I gave them the example in the Peru, we divided the entire city into grids, and each grid is about 300 meter, 300 meter. And each grid we have positioned a bins, which are smart bins, which we come to know after studying for 1 year those bins. We know which grid is creating what kind of waste, how much waste is created in a day, so that we can apply optimally that what kind of transportation system that we should have, which grid should be booked up 6 hours in a day, which it can take 12 hours in a day. So these kind of studies are not available with the municipalities. So they send the truck which picks up dust from everywhere, but that is not the optimum solution. We should be able to find out which area of a, let's say, 200 meter or 300 square meter area is generating what kind of waste. And then we should address that why the waste is getting generated at all, and then address the same kind of waste. So I think it is the issue is the waste management studies and the planning, because until you do the planning, we will sell what we think is right, but that may not be right for the same municipality. And we are doing the study in 3 cities at this moment, and we have almost 30 people for commission for a period of 2 years. And once we have this study, I think we will be in a much, much better position to suggest a solution on that time. Thank you.
Absolutely. For scientific handling of waste, we do need data, which is a big, big gap in our country, the weakest link, I would say. Thank you, sir, for that perspective. I would now like to move on to Dr. Chitra Rajan. She is the Managing Director of Radix Lifespace, specializes in the field of biomethanization. Could you please tell us about your work and what is the kind of case studies that you think showcase the wonderful work that you are doing?
Good afternoon to all of you. I'm very happy to be here and sharing the platform with so many knowledgeable people. I'm a small entrepreneur. I set up biogas plants. One of my plant here is processing about 40 tons of waste per day, and we generate bio-CNG and selling it to IOCL. And my other plant uses about 400 tons of cow dung to make bio-CNG. Apart from that, I also work with the United Nations through an organization called Private Financing Advisory Network, where we work with entrepreneurs in clean energy, energy efficiency, and sustainable development. We mentor them and make them investor ready and help them to get funding. And the best part is this entire mentoring process is free for the entrepreneur. We charge them only if we are able to mobilize funds for them. So till then it's done. And through our mentoring, if the entrepreneur is successful in going out and getting funding somewhere else, we don't stop them, and they don't have to pay us anything. So this is a wonderful opportunity for any of you here, the technology providers here, who are looking for raising funds, especially if it's $1 million plus, then I would definitely be in a position to help. When it comes to waste management, I'm not going to be talking much about my own work because biomethanation is something everybody knows. It's been quite successful. And with the Satat scheme, which government has come up with now, the impetus has been very good and a lot of new plants are coming up. So this is a technology which is done and dusted and it's been working for quite a long time. And with government support, now it's getting the right place in the market. What I'm going to talk today is 2 areas which we should be focusing. Unfortunately, I don't have a solution. I'm just going to be pointing my fingers at the areas where some work needs to be done. One of them, everybody today has been talking about, is sorting the waste. When it comes to solid waste, whether it's plastic or metal or even electronics, it's easier to sort, and we have been doing it to a large extent. And the waste processing, we have enough and more technologies, and all of them have worked very well also. They might have their own pros and cons of it, but they are working on their own way. But where the problem is the sorting of the household waste, the waste which comes out of the house, it's mixed with plastic, it's mixed with food waste, and there is no technology in the market as of now which can segregate it. We need a automated or mechanical segregator, because what I have seen, because I have been in this industry for close to 10 years now, is that beyond a point, it's very difficult to segregate it manually, and nobody wants to put their hand in the muck and sort it out. And today, labor is a big challenge. You don't get laborers to work on this kind of areas where it's stinky, it's dirty. People don't want to work. So what is needed is a cost-effective solution which can sort this waste And it has to be cost effective, and it has to work in the Indian condition where 30 to 40% of the waste which comes out of the household is mixed waste, and it's a lot of liquid in that, lot of semi-solids in that, and it is stinky. So we need something which can segregate this. The second point which I want to talk about is that when we talk about waste generation at the source or sorting of waste at the source, we are looking at waste generators as somebody who are the sinners here and who are the problem creators here, and we penalize them for it. If you remember, our grandmothers and the mothers and all used to collect the plastic covers, the milk covers very diligently. They used to collect the plastic bottles and tins and all very diligently because there was a good market for it. There were radiwalas who will come and pick it up. Even clothes. The used clothes, I remember in South, it was very good. This thing where you can, all your used clothes is a person will come and collect and give utensils, stainless steel utensils for that. So there was an incentive for the women to collect these waste, diligently, segregate it properly, store it till they find a place where they can dispose it. Today, what has happened is the bulk of the money in this waste collection and sorting and processing is gobbled up by the middlemen here, who are the one who are collecting the waste from you. The person gives probably 1 rupee or 2 rupees to the household per kg of plastic waste and all, but he goes and sells it for 15 rupees or 18 rupees. And this 1 or 2 rupees is not a big money for any of the households. And they said, okay, you're going to penalize me anyway. So it doesn't matter. And we have seen that penalization never works anywhere. If you're going to charge them, say 1,000 rupees, I'm going to charge per household for generating waste, it's so be it. You're charging me anyway. Now, why should I segregate my waste? I'm going to pay that money, throw that money at you and get on with it. What we need is a business model which incentivizes the waste generators to segregate the waste properly and give it. Unless we do that kind of a business model, where maybe I'm just thinking aloud that we have a marketplace where people can sell their waste and then make money out of it. The problem is this marketplace needs to be funded, and nobody's there to fund for it, because I've been in the funding business quite some time. So I realize that nobody touches this part of the business plan. But this is what is needed, that we incentivize the waste generator in a way that they segregate the waste more clearly. Otherwise, there is no way you can solve it. All the speakers before me have also been saying the same thing, is that beyond a point, how much of education you can do through the people. The people whom you are dealing with in cities are all educated people. Yet 40 to 60% of the waste which is generated from the houses are not segregated. And the moment they know that somebody else is going to make money out of it, and they are going to do it, even if the waste collection is done at the source, at your door, they do not segregate it. I'll give you my own example. I was collecting waste from, I was asked to collect waste from an apartment complex, which had a OWC. An automatic waste converter was there, which they've been using it for quite some time and using it very efficiently also. But the problem was that it was very energy intensive. So the amount of money they were paying for electricity was much more. So they didn't want to do it. And they wanted us to collect it. And since the plant, this apartment complex was very close to my plant, I agreed to do that. And then I said, you just have to pay me for the transportation. I won't charge you for anything. So it was a major savings from them. So first, 1 week, the waste, sorted waste came very beautifully, because they are used to sorting the organic waste themselves. After the second or third week, then I started seeing everything from chappal to plastic handles, cooker lids, everything started coming. And then I said, look, and I didn't even realize that the waste was not sorted. And one of my segregation machine blew up. So when I complained to them, they said, look, we don't have the time to sort out all these things. What do you think? Why do you think we are giving it to you? We can't do this. That's why I'm giving it to you. No. So the mentality here is that if somebody else is doing it, it's his headache to do everything. I don't want to take the pains of it, because there is no incentive for them to do. You cannot talk about environment cleanliness and then how it's going to impact your environment, the air quality and soil quality. Nobody is bothered about it. Everybody is talking about, I am living today. I want to live peacefully. Tomorrow I'll be dead and gone. I don't care a damn about what happens. So yes, this is where I'm thinking.
That is the truth, Dr. Rajan. And we have to come up with solutions that, make the processing more fruitful. And
that will be happen only if you are going to involve the stakeholders directly in that and incentivize them. There is no other. I have tried every possible solution to do it. The only way I think is when people see some direct benefit to them, not about environment, not about quality of water and air, something there and money in your pocket.
Financial incentives, absolutely.
That is the only way.
Financial model of waste management.
I just hope that somebody takes up and talks about it. I do it in the colleges wherever I go and say that please come up with some business model which can do this. But if we all work together on this and think of some business model incentivizing the waste generator, it will be a good one to do.
Yeah, thank you so much. In the interest of time, I'll have to move on to Mr. Manish Saxena. He's with GITF Urban Infrastructure Limited. Mr. Saxena, if you can unmute yourself and tell us about what GITF has been doing. You all have been running successful waste to energy plants. What do you think your solutions can do for the municipalities here today?
Yeah, very good afternoon, everyone. Myself Manish Saxena. I represent GITF Urban Infrastructure Limited. We are basically the pioneers in waste to energy sector, and we have now close to almost 50 megawatts of operating plants and another 60 megawatts of plants under erection. And for the combined capacity of all our projects is about 10,000 metric tons per day. And the first plant that we built was in Okla in Delhi, and there we are processing close to about 1900 TPD of waste and generating around 21 megawatt of electricity. And we have been operating this plant since 2012. And another two projects in Andhra Pradesh, namely at Guntur and Vizag, we are commissioned last year. And these plants are also operating at a very high PLF of more than 100%. Now, the success of our plants basically lies in the technology. We are using the German technology named Martin grade, which is a reciprocating grade, and which is basically developed for combustion of municipal solid waste, the mixed municipal solid waste that is, and it has a very high reliability, and the waste is almost completely combusted into ash. So our byproducts, that is basically the bottom ash and the fly ash, and that also we are processing. We are basically making bricks from the fly ash, and the bottom ash we are segregating the sand and the stones and making the aggregate, and that is used in the construction, road construction and all. So basically we are reducing the loads on to the landfills, and we are thereby protecting the environment and reducing the carbon emissions. And the major advantage of our plant is that not only the basically avoidance of the landfill, but as well the various byproducts that we are basically, whenever we receive the waste from the municipalities and in our plant, we store in a pit for a period of 7 to 8 days, and where there it is completely dried, and then it is segregated into various components, namely recyclables, residue-derived fuel, inert, and the compostable material. The compostable material is converted into the compost, and the recyclables are sent is sold to the recyclers, and the RDF, which is the residue-derived fuel, and having GCV in the range of around 22,000 to 2,500 kilocal per kg. We are using in our boiler for combustion, and using the Rankine cycle, we are generating the power. Now, this is a pretty much established technology all over the world, and but there are certain great challenges which we are facing both in the execution and the operation. The first is the very high capital intensive. These are the very high capital intensive projects, and the per megawatt basis, the capital cost of these plants is as high as 22 to 25 crores per megawatt, and the operating cost is also very high, and in the range of around 1.2 to 1.5 crores per megawatt. So for the commercial viability of this project, certainly we need support in terms of viability gap funding, from the government of India. MNRE has launched one scheme for central finance assistance for the waste to energy project in 2020, but after a brief period of only 1 year, they withdraw the scheme. Now, without this capital, with such high capital incentive projects, until we don't receive the support from the government in terms of viability gap funding, the sustainability is really an issue. Another issue is that mostly municipalities, they want to just get rid of their waste, and so they deliver us the waste, but they don't pay us any kind of tipping fees. Ultimately, we are helping the municipalities in achieving their objective under the Swachh Bharat mission, and we are scientifically disposing the waste. But this kind of for the viability of this plant, this plant should get some kind of tipping fees from the municipalities. And thirdly, even the tariff is also a very tricky part for this plant. And in one of our projects, we are getting a tariff of as low as 3 rupees per unit, while the cost of generation is as high as 6 rupees per unit. So tariff in 2015, Central Electricity Regulatory Commission has announced a tariff of around 7.90 rupees for the RDF waste project and 7.04 rupees for the incineration waste project. In spite of these clear regulations, many state regulators do not follow these regulations. And the highest tariff that we have got is around in the one of our project is 7.40 rupees, but mostly our tariff is ranging between, let's say, 6 rupees to 7 rupees. And so these are some of the challenges. Otherwise, waste to energy is a wherever you want to get disposable of more than, let's say, 3,000, 4,000 metric ton of waste per day. So waste to energy is the only solution.
Yes.
And that has been advocated by the NITI Aayog and all, but we need the support.
Yes, absolutely. There are financial issues.
We need the support for the viability of this project.
Yeah, yes. Okay, thank you so
with
much.
that, I would like to wrap up and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Saxena, for that overview. Waste to energy plants remain controversial in a lot of places, but in some cases, they are just the only choice available. And, I thank you for being with us here today. I would now like to move on to Mr. Raghavendra Rao. He's a senior manager of business development and proposals with Hitachi Zosen India Private Limited. Mr. Rao, if you can please unmute yourself and tell us a bit about the kind of projects you're already doing in India, some successful ones already. If you could share those experiences with us.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks, Frank, giving me this opportunity. And good evening to all panel members. I don't want to take much time. Actually, sorry, excuse me. See, I cannot switch on my audio as actually I'm traveling. Okay, so hope audio is fine. Actually, concerning the directly going to the topic, today's topic of no waste. Yeah, actually, so now we are talking about waste. Actually, I'm more specifically pointing on, along with the no waste, actually no energy waste also I'm talking about. So energy waste is something like, so it implies that utilizing the proper technologies for waste, proper waste, so means type of waste. I mean to say that the utilizing proper technologies for that different types of waste, the segregation system plays a vital role here. So that means, see the scenario how the waste management concept has been evolving since since like 2010 till 2022. Still, of course, it is evolving. So looking at the scenario how way back in 2010, how the WT plants have been constructed. There, I think the focus is to consume it, the waste in somehow. Now we have learned the ways, how to handle the waste, how to efficiently combust the waste. Then now there are different technologies to be implemented for handling different types of waste. So that now earlier everyone talks about okay, incineration is one of the technology, because now over the period of time, so now how the management, waste management has been evolved in similar way, many technologies has been evolved. So out of which then, apart from this incineration, it's not that along with the incineration, I can say along with the incineration, there are technologies called compost, biogas, and other technologies has been evolved. Now, for efficient waste management practices, we have to adopt technologies under one roof. That means composite solution to be done. That those composite solutions are waste to energy and biogas together. Suppose these two technologies, if one technology provider can implement and so that all the solutions can come under one roof, so that the tracking or maybe something like, no, we can clearly see where is, if something is going wrong, then we can clearly look at the things which are going in the wrong direction and can rectify it with an immediate effect. So that means we with the proper segregation system in place, then we are making it the combustible matter separately and organic matter separately. Then we'll take the combustible matter to the incineration plants, so that's a waste to energy plants, and the organic fraction will take it to the biogas plants, where we are about to launch the new biogas technology concept, that is compogas technology. Here, the advantage of this compogas technology is to accept more inert content of the organic. That means, as one of the panelists or maybe many of the panelists told that segregation, 100% of segregation is impossible task. So that means we can reach to a level of 95 plus. So in that means there is a possibility of certain foreign matter that may likely to be a part of organic waste, even when we try to do a best segregation system at place. So that means we have to live with organic fraction containing little inert content. So that means then there should be a technology to take care of that organic content with little inert content. So that's where we are concentrating on. So again, the point what I have highlighted about how to take energy balance, how to do the energy balance. So one side we are talking about energy generation and how to utilize it in proper way. So that means the technology should be adapted suitably and in an effective way. That means we have to have a segregation technology to that means to what extent we have to do the segregation technology. That means we are now here to keep in mind the economics also at a point. That means see, there are systems, there are some technologies are available, can segregate it 99%, but at what cost? That is also a factor we need to look after. That is the reason why I'm talking about the systems where there are certain percentage of segregation is compulsion. I think that's where we have to concentrate and we have to move forward. That's the reason why I'm concentrating on technology options of the minimum requirements and to fulfill the application of different technologies to effectively utilize it and generate the energy from those type of technologies.
Absolutely. Understood. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Rao. We would now like to move on to Mr. Ankit sales for recycling. Yeah, there's Mr. Rao, if you can unmute yourself. Mr. Avasthi, if you can just tell us about what TEDx is doing, some of your India projects that you would like to share as successful case studies, perhaps?
Hello.
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible to everyone?
Yes, you are.
Very good afternoon to everyone. This is Ankit. I'm representing a company called TEDx India. Just a brief introduction about us. Terex is a pioneer in making machines for mineral processing and material handling. I take care of a division which is Terex Recycling Systems in India, where we are having again two business lines, with one which deals with the municipal solid waste and another deals with construction and demolition waste as of now. So just this was the intro for the TEDx and what we do. We supply and manufacture the whole line, starting from the segregation unit to the recycling unit, and also a reprocessing unit in term for the handling of municipal solid waste and construction and demolition waste. We do have some products which are getting manufactured overseas for the e-waste recycling as well. Just to showcase what our okay, so I cannot share a screen.
Radhika, can he share his screen, or you would be able to do that?
I would like to show some photographs of the success stories what we have made till now in India. So if at all it is possible.
Radhika?
Sir, I'm sorry, the presentations are not allowed over here.
Okay.
Okay. So we are manufacturing machines which are primarily screen machines, which screen out the existing municipal solid waste, which is a legacy waste as of now, which we are making a success stories in India. We have provided some around 17 units in India, which are running starting from north to south to west to east, and these machines are working on for biomining and bioremediation. The machines are producing three kind of three to four different products. One which is by the sieve size less than 20 mm, which is directly going to the as a swipe. Between 20 to 50 mm, it is going as it is termed as an inert, which is going for the landfills, and more size over to it is used as a RDF in the different cement factories and the boilers. We also do have equipments and the plants available which reprocess the RDF so that the calorific value can be increased and it can be used in a more influential way. At present, we are manufacturing this big machines in India, and there are certain more plants and equipment which are in pipeline, which soon will be available to the Indian market. As a matter of fact, I was love to show a photograph, but unfortunately there are some technical constraints attached to it. But I can easily recall when I came to Delhi in 2010 as a fresh engineering graduate, and I saw Gazipur dump yard. I have never imagined that it's a dump yard for the municipal solid waste. For another 5-6 years, I was thinking that it's just a mountain somewhere in the split of Aravalli ranges and so that. And today it has gone to a level where it is actually a cause and concern of a national shame to each one of us that we are engineers are sitting in this country and we are feeling so helpless. Today the situation is that you cannot breathe in Delhi without mask. Whatever the solutions available to us to any part of a country or any part of the world, we have to be working kind of war zone atmosphere, that we need to get rid out of this material, whatever the technology is available, with optimizing the technology in a more efficient way, that whether converting it to energy, and specifically, I would say that to the best of my experience, a lot more work needs to be done on the policy making, giving clear guidelines even to the MSW contractors, MSW recyclers, and the producers, because we are saying that this material can be converted into some kind of product and used by the different industries. But there should be clear guidelines, like the guidelines we have for the road industry. We have a guidelines for the industrial affiliates. We should have a clear guidelines how to recycle, what size, in what time, and then we can gradually scale up this entire municipal solid waste industry, both in construction and demolition waste and in the solid waste management.
For that. Thank you for that very crisp and concise explanation of what you all are doing and some of the biggest challenges that we need to overcome in the sector. Finally, I would now like to invite Mr. Hari Balaji. He's the Head of Information, Education, Communication at Oasis Sumit. They're doing a lot of work in Chennai. Mr. Balaji, at many occasions in the past, we've spoken about the IEC activities your department is undertaking in Chennai. Could you please share some of the successful examples of what you've been doing? Because this is something that all municipalities are grappling with. How do you ensure segregation at source? How do you change people's mindsets? Over to you.
Thank you, Afrin. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Donanola. Thank you, Anindya, for arranging this, and Solid Waste India to have this session roundtable. This is definitely useful for all of us across different states, and sharing cross-pollination ideas happened in these kind of sessions. Thank you. Here in Chennai, Urbesa Summit started in October 2020, and the idea is an 8-year project covering 7 zones out of 15 zones, and ensuring that it's a KPI-based model. So bringing in source segregated waste, collecting and transporting it to the assigned locations is one pillar. The second pillar is keeping the roads clean. Apart from this, there are also additional unique services like carcass removal, hotspot clearance, and emergency priority services. These kind of areas also are taken care. What doesn't come under our purview is collection of construction and demolition debris, and anything above 100 kgs. So bulk waste generators do not fall under our scope. So, of course, habit formation is a Herculean task, that too with 8.5 lakh households, closely to 40 lakh population spread across 207 square kilometers. Our department has 100 people. Initially, when we started, when me and Afrin got connected, we were 54 people. Like now, we have actually doubled up our numbers. What we are doing is initially, as per our KPI, as per our MIOP requirement, mission, instruction, and operation plan, once in a quarter, I have to meet visit a resident and create door-to-door awareness, which is 4 times in a year. So once in 3 months, it's not going to create much of impact. So what we have done is come up with an option called Camp 4, continuous awareness method for 4 days, where we visit the same house, same route, same house, along with the BOV, battery operated vehicle driver. It was a conscious decision because we have 3,000 vehicles collecting garbages. So we went with the electric vehicles. So IEC staff, executive, 4 days will visit the same house, in the same road, same route, same ward, and create awareness. First day is more of mapping, ensuring, because what we have got from the census report and what we have got from 2 years before survey, and what actually is, there'll be slight difference. There might be additional family or family have moved out. So these kind of things are, first day is taken care. So mapping happens first day. Second day, ensuring all the details are shared with the resident. Apart from mapping, our IEC staff also educates the battery operated vehicle driver, saying, we will come with you for 4 days, but after that, you will be the torchbearer, communicating with them, ensuring with your rapport, which you have already built, please help them understand, asking them to help us to help them back. This is one. And second thing is, on the 3rd and 4th day, we also have a third-party monitoring committee who, because since it's our KPI-based model, apart from corporation and apart from our hierarchy, there's a third-party agency. So that representative also joins, and he or she also makes note of what is being observed in the field. So this is one which we have implemented, and we have seen considerable amount of growth. But of course, we haven't reached 100%, but from what it was before, improvement is seen. One. Second thing, what we have done is we have piloted last week a progress card, where we have set of questions. First, it's basically a A4 folded into A5 size. So the first page has more of the cover side has the details about the resident. On the inside, the second side about our company, who we are and what we do, and which are the zones we cover. And the third side, we have very basic, simple questions for them to they have to do the marking part. 3 questions asking them, okay, are you aware that this is to be separated, segregated, not mixed, and these kind of questions. And then there's a question like, if you mix in or if you do illegal dumping, it's a punishable offense, or penalty will be levied. Then there are 10 questions for 4 days. So the person who goes on the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, collects that progress card back, and based on the score they've received, and because it's checked on a daily basis as well, they will be given awards and recognized. And it is more on ward wise we are piloting now to see, as the previous speaker Ms. Chitra was talking about, incentivizing them. This is something which we have seen. We've also discussed with the resident welfare associations, flat owner associations, and other stakeholders to have zone-wise strategy than, or ward-wise strategy than common strategy, because we have tried door-to-door activities, because as per our KPI, we have to do 3 activities per zone, per ward per month, so which comes to 276 activities. And if it is not as per the requirements or as per the MIOP, it gets rejected and it results in penalty. So ours is not based on tonnage, our payment is based on KPI. So we also constantly the residents part, our 4 target groups, we are constantly in touch with them to come up with different ideas. And we also learn in this past 2 years, the same approach or same style, what worked when we started is not working actually after 6 months. So we change and we adapt as we grow. Our 4 target groups are basically, one is homemakers, second is domestic help, third is youth, and fourth is children. Irrespective of gender. And these people stay in individual houses, flats, apartments, urban poor pockets, mostly in Tamil Nadu Housing Board or slum tenements, and also SMEs who give us space.
Yeah.
This is in a nutshell, and I'll be happy to share anything during the QA session.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Balaji, for. So that now brings us to our final speaker for the day, Mr. K.N. Rao, Corporate Head for EHS, AFR, and Energy Sustainability at My Home Industry Private Limited, one of the largest cement companies in the south of India. Mr. Rao, if you can please tell us about some of the biggest challenges you face from your perspective. You've heard a range of views from municipality officials, pollution control boards, technology providers, waste management companies, but I would like to hear you as someone who from the receiving end. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for inviting us for this very important session. There is a great learning for me. I'd like to before that I would like to introduce my company. I'm working as a corporate head for My Home Group, which is a cement and construction company and a power company. We have 3 businesses. Here, when we talk about the cement, since I'm the only one person from cement industry, I would like to talk about the entire cement industry, what it can do for the RDF. Now, India is having almost producing around 120 million tons of municipal waste every year. And almost 1/3 of the waste can be converted into RDF, looking into the quantum and the type of material we have. And the Indian cement industry is capable of disposing the entire quantity of combustion fraction in cement companies. But there is one limitation is that the cement locations are where the clinker cement plants are there and the cities where they are. The lead distance are very long. We can only address the cities which are very close proximity, less than 300 kilometers radius. We will be able to address it. But there are lots of states where you don't have any cement plant where waste can be generated. There, I agree that waste to energy plant is the other option. What they have. The topic of the subject is that first is waste minimization. No waste. First, we should ultimately focus on circular economy. So each waste which is ultimately generated, first of all, it should be reused or recycled. Only when we are not able to reuse or recycle, that is the time when you think about a disposal. That's the point where we come into that. Co-processing in cement kiln is a more sustainable way of disposing the municipal solid waste and not the organic fraction. But what are the problems with the cement industry is cement industry is a very high energy intensity industry and high CO2 emitting industry. And there is one of the reasons that the Indian cement industry took a decision to go with the roadmap in 2010 that what are the measures where we can reduce our carbon footprint and how to reduce our fossil fuel requirement. One of the idea was how to use alternative fuels in place of fossil fuels, where we can actually reduce our carbon footprint. And in this particular aspect, what are the problems which we are facing, which is a part of the learning curve, which is that most of the waste, which is segregated waste, come from the municipalities, have a lot of stones, soil, means the segregation is not complete. Many other speakers have said that we should not, we don't expect to go towards 100%, but can we get into the level of 80-90% of the level of efficiency in terms of separating the stones, separating the soil, and separating the organic material, and also remove the electronic waste and medical waste, hazardous waste, all coming in the municipal solid waste. If we are able to remove those, because we are producing cement, so these going to ultimately contaminate the product. So which will ultimately, these need to be removed from the product. And also India has the disadvantage being a low-grade limestone, where already we have a lot of silica in the limestone, and we will not be able to accept the soil and stones into the material, which ultimately reduces our product quality. That is one of the reasons that even if some municipality sends the material, I need to install a machine, like the people who explained, the screen suppliers, saying that you require to remove 20 mm screen to remove the organic, compostable fraction, and 20 to 50 mm to remove the inerts, and then beyond 50, the one which is the combustible fraction, which can go into the kiln. So it means these screens the municipality has to install, otherwise we have to install. So this is one thing. And second thing is, many of the materials which are coming into the cement plants do not have the size of 50 mm. Our combustion time, what is available into the system, having a small residence time where the material size should be below 80 mm. But many times we are getting the material of very high size. Then we need to have a shredders, and we need to have screens, and then we need to have feeding systems. And also a lot of moisture comes with the material, because I think many people have addressed how to reduce the moisture at the source by using the screen on the perforated type of baskets, where moisture can be removed at the source. And second thing is, using solar energy, can we dry the material before it is being sent to cement plants? In the process, that the amount of the moisture can be reduced, in the process that the amount of energy which we require to use to produce cement, the clinker, that can be actually reduced. So otherwise, if the drying is not done, and then we need to do the drying, size reduction, screening, all that cement plants has to do. There is a huge amount of capex. Either the municipality has to put the capex, or cement plant has to put the capex. Now the issue is that currently the financials, because the polluter pay principle is not there, the waste is generated by households. They are not paying a solid waste tax, and municipalities do not have income. In the process, that if they send unsegregated waste to cement plant, then that becomes a capex burden for the cement plant. There are no incentives for that in terms of investing capex. Today, Indian cement industry invests almost 6,000 crores on creating the feeding facilities. Now, if you need to do this shredding, sorting, and facilities further, it will cost another $2 billion. So basically, the challenge is that the capex by municipalities or capex by cement plants. So this required to be addressed, and the policies are in such a way that ultimately there should be win-win game, where the polluter pay principle is actually taken, and then cement plants are also are committed in terms of circular economy. We are using large amount of materials coming from from various waste streams from various industries as an alternative raw material, because our raw material limestone, if we do that, it actually emits CO2. Calcium carbonate, if you heat it, it becomes calcium oxide and CO2. So if we can get some alternative raw material which doesn't have CO2, that also helps the cement industry.
Yeah.
And another one is that one of the best examples of Indian cement industry is that how to create awareness in the communities around the community. There we have actually come out with the few cement companies have actually come out with the MRF facilities with the through the CSR funds, ultimately created those infrastructure and try to awareness of 7-bin system, and where the cement plant actually driven system which got the Swachh Bharat award, where we have not gone into 3-bin system, we've gone into 7-bin system. We have educated from the schools through in all the schools from the community and the women, and in the process that we are able to get the desired quality of material from municipal solid waste to the plants. So this is something which has been done in many plants, but our the interest is that the cement plants are capable of handling the RDF, provided we address the basic issue of moisture, separating soil, stones, organics, and electrical, medical waste and hazardous waste from the municipal solid waste, which requires some amount of mechanized equipment at each municipality, which helps the cement plants to address the issue in totality.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you want the cement industry to take the waste from a longer distance, there should be concessional freight or the freight to be borne by the municipality so that we'll be able to take the material. So less moisture and sharing the burden of transportation ultimately helps the industry to definitely address the, and because Indian cement industry is the second largest in the world after China. Yeah. So India has the capability because, so if, apart from the municipal solid waste, India produces approximately 1 billion tons of solid waste. We are talking about 120 million tons. There is a huge amount of agri residue. Today's the problems of Delhi, where people are burning the agri residue and the amount of fly ash and slag, many issues which are there. Yes. We are trying to address all the issues related to the slag produced, the fly ash produced by power plants, and also the liquid waste produced by the chemical industry, pharma industry, all getting into co-processed in the cement kits. Today, the company My Home was the first in the country to install a liquid firing system.
Okay.
By investing 20 crores for the pharma liquid.
I see.
So what the thing is, the waste which is going to an incinerator or to a landfill site are going to these materials today we are able to handle in a cement kiln without additional investment of capex. I think the waste to energy plant has told that 25 crores is the investment capex required for to putting up a waste to energy plant. But this particular capex is eliminated if the waste is coming to cement plant. But in such case that the municipality ultimately to come out with some mechanization of sorting and screening in the process that the cement industry will be able to handle this. And government should come out with a concessional duty for the import of advanced machinery like the screens which have been mentioned from Europe. These missions which we want to bring and for a very highly sophisticated sorting and screening, which ultimately we are importing with a duty of 25%. At least for the under the Swachh Bharat, the government can actually remove this particular duty for the equipments which are actually we are trying to do in terms of waste management. Those are the areas where government can think of, because right now we don't have carbon credits. At least if we are able to have some incentivization on GST, and also in terms of for like today, if I source waste from
I'll have to interrupt you because we are running out of time. So okay. It's past 4 o'clock, so I think we should wrap up. I think Mr. Sampath wanted to make a few comments. We couldn't hear him very clearly throughout. Mr. Sampath, very quickly, if you can just say some of your points here before we end the session. We're already over time, so I request you to be very quick and concise in your observations after listening to all the speakers.
Yeah, thanks again for giving me the second opportunity. I'll go very quickly. Yeah. And we have been talking about this waste generation. Even Mr. Rao was telling about 120 million tons, and then 40 million can be used as the RDF. Now this 40 million RDF can be converted into money. We are giving the whole thing into the cement industry free of cost, or even spending 12,000 crores worth material free of cost to cement industry. So this 12,000 crores what we are focusing on. Either we use the pyrolysis technology where we have been using that from, or we have been supplying them from 2008, and or now recently we developed a technology for emission-free RDF pellets. Means we are adding some chemicals and convert them into low emission alternative fuel pellets. So this, what we are talking about, 40 million tons of combustible metal can be converted into low emission alternative fuel pellets, which can generate quite a lot of money to the GDP and also the employment. So we have technology for pyrolysis, converting plastic to fuel. We have a technology for biogas to the larger size plant, like what Chitra said. And we also have an universal composting machine. Apart from that, we also have a small waste disposal machine, which can be used for domestic waste disposal in a smaller town, smaller villages, from 500 kg per day onwards. So these are the technology available. This can be used in sorting out the municipal waste right from the smallest village to the biggest cities. That's it, quickly.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
So
so much.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So that brings us to the end of our session. Now I would request Aninda Sen, the head of marketing for solidwasteindia.com. That's our website. Do check it out for all the news and information in the sector. Aninda, your closing comments, session summary, please.
Thank you, Afreen. So I'll make it very quick. So thank you, everybody, for making it to this third virtual roundtable discussion. And every point is relevant. In fact, it gives us a pretty good idea as to what the problem statements are and what are the gaps in implementation. What we are doing here is, this is stage one, where we are triangulating the various perspectives and viewpoints and trying to find out, what should be the theme for the roadshow, which is stage two, where everybody will get an opportunity to have a little more deeper interaction. And even then, the objective over there is to create some kind of synergies in terms of which will culminate into signing of MOUs or some pilot projects or some experimentation, something that will address these problem statements. So thank you very much for your time. We are already over time, so I won't take much time, and I'll hand it over to Umesh to make the closing remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Aninda. Thank you, everybody who have been able to participate and take out time. It was really a pleasure to have all of you online. As we have been stating in the start of the program as well, this is leading up to the next physical programs. We are shortly going to come out with the schedule for the same. And special thanks to all our knowledge partners, media partner, Times Group, National Solid Waste Association, Metal Recycling Association, SME Chamber, TTC Waste Management Association, Indian Textile Machinery Association, Indian Pollution Control Association, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and Indian Plastic Institute. We look forward to connecting with each of you guys, both the knowledge partners and the technology players, to identify the pilot areas and MOU possibilities with the government. Now we have very clearly got the problem statements, so we can focus on them, and together before we reach to the physical programs, we would definitely want a very objectified outcomes to be clearly defined in partnership with all of them. Finally, thank you everybody again, and I think shortly we'll be reaching out to you with our schedules, and we'll also want to see good partnerships and possibilities of business creation during our programs, and that's why we have created this platform. Afreen, thank you for moderating the whole session very professionally as usual, and also a special thanks to Radhika, who has been the backbone for coordinating this session by connecting with each of them. We look forward to be in touch with you very soon, and that's where we should take our next steps together. Thanks a lot, everybody.